I've never seen it been fall that way.
Hey, once again, I want to welcome everybody to Springfield Area Leadoff Club here at Pizza Ranch, presented by Split Schools. We're all in Easton. Certainly glad everybody's here today. We're going to go ahead and get started, as we've done every week for a long time. We want to hear about Art Haynes and how he's doing. Coach Rowe, I know you've been in contact with him often.
Had a setback last week. Boiled down to sepsis, which is infection of the blood, and he had a urinary tract infection with it too. So they have to rush him to another facility, Bryan Medical Center, and he had been in intensive care there, but within a day and a half, it's changed. Antibiotics did the job. The pneumonia, they say, sort of stays at both the bottom of both lungs because he can't cough enough to clean them. So that was there, but that's been improved. Talked to Chris this morning, so I was going to give a little report here, and he said the iron levels were low, potassium was down, but now things are like normal, like they should be. But I've gotten the word before, his blood pressure, and she let me know that night, it was 46/39.
Wow.
I've never heard of that in my life, ever. Right. So it was kind of a dire situation for a while, but he's very alert and everything's rolling back to normal in a regular room now. We're just keeping him there a couple more days before they take him back to the Ambassador, which is the facility he was in before. It has set back a bit. They thought he might be able to get back here at the end of the month. It would probably be more like the end of next month. And that's what he thought today. So keep things rolling. There's lots of other things involved. His Medicare stuff runs out the end of April too. So that's when the cash register really starts running up pretty good. But other than that, I think that's basically it. Thank you.
And our thoughts and prayers continue to be with Art and his family. I know I got a text from Lisa, I guess they've sold their house in Marshall. And so that's going to help a little bit with some of the costs there, but continued thoughts and prayers for Art. And to that end here, we're more than halfway through the leadoff club, and I'll turn it over to Don West.
All right, Guy, and we want to also say thoughts and prayers to the family of Coach Bill Thomas, who we lost over the weekend as well, but Missouri State basketball legend. Well, on to the baseball for this week, and we'll start with Coach Hughes here from Nixon. His team's out to a 14-2 start.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Had one of our slower weeks that we had this season so far. We started with Ozark Tuesday, pitched really well. Jackson Gamble, sophomore, pitched really well. Ended up beating 6-0. And then Thursday, had another conference game on Thursday. Ended up winning that one, and then played a really good Fayetteville team. Came up and played us in Kickapoo on Friday, and they can swing it. They can really hit. And we left 13 guys on base, so I think we were 1 for 11 that game with guys on base in scoring position. So we've been doing a pretty good job hitting with guys on base, but for some reason Friday we didn't get it done. So we got a big week coming up. We got Willard on Tuesday, and we got Webb City Thursday, and then we're in the Lebanon tournament for 4 games this weekend. So we've got 11 games in our next 12 days. So we're hitting a busy part of our schedule. Next week, I think we have Neosho, and then Carthage, and then we go up to Columbia for 3 games against Rockbridge, Hickman, and Francis Howell. So we're getting into the meat of our schedule. Our pitching so far has really been kind of our bright spot. We've got 3 sophomores starting in our rotation who have been really, really good. And then the other 2 guys are 2 seniors who have started for us. And so, and then we've had some depth guys step up in the bullpen, which we needed to do this year. So we've been really happy with our pitching and our defense, and a lot of our bats that we're expecting to hit have been hitting well this last couple of weeks. So we're looking forward to it. A lot of great baseball coming up. Excited to get rolling this week. So thank you guys so much.
Hey, Logan, I got some questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many games do you hope to play for the whole season before you get to the district?
Yeah, we've lost 2 so far. we're gonna make up the Glendale game. I think it's May 11th, is when we reschedule that game. So it's at the very end of the season. We have about 7 days before districts in our last game, so we're gonna make them up. We'll get 35 in right now if we don't get any more canceled.
Oh, man. And the district alignment for you, what's that look like?
Yeah, it's, I think they moved it to Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, of that week. I think it's 16th, 17th, 19th or something that week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. It's at Republic this year.
So it's you and Republic?
It's us, Republic, Kickapoo, Joplin, Central, and then Coach Hauser can tell you the rest. Because I forgot who all is in our district. But there's 8 of us. It's a good, it's really good. Ozark, yeah, Ozark's in it. Very competitive.
Last time I was involved in it, we was always having to dodge senior finals. I guess you don't have to worry about that anymore.
I think they're earlier this year, which is fantastic. We're getting ready to hit the old prom this weekend, so that's always fun in the middle of the baseball season. But yeah, I think they're early now with baseball being so late. Ours are coming up, I think, in 2 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
For the record, I think the only team you missed was Carthage.
Carter.
And the Osho and Joplin from down there, next to Ozark Republic, Kickapoo Central. Okay. And Willard had a very busy weekend in Columbia, and they've got a couple of conference games this week.
Yeah, this week we've got Nixa and the Osho in conference. So it'll be some good competition. The Osho is much improved. They don't play a great schedule, but I think they're 13-4. And obviously Nixa's good. This past week we had 7 games. Thursday night we went to Carl Junction. Our bus pulled in at 11:48, and then Friday morning we left at 4:50 to go play 3 games in Columbia. And so we played Columbia Battle and beat them, and then we played Staley, and that was a really good game. They threw a kid that's going to Iowa who was really strong. And we have had a pitcher that's wasn't injured, but he got hurt in the jamboree against Kickapoo. He's had some just forearm tightness, so he's been shut down. And he was able to throw against Staley, and he's going to. His name's Chris Massey. He's going to Central Missouri. He threw really well and kind of won that game for us. So we beat them 4-2. Then we had a game off where basically every kid slept inside of McDonald's, and then we came back and got to play Francis Howell. So that one didn't go great. And I was telling our kids it's probably the first time ever that juniors and seniors in high school were so excited to be in bed by 9:30 on Friday night. So. We had 2 more games Saturday. We won the second one against Green Valley on a walk-off home run by Owen Bushnell, who's a senior. So it was a good week, and we're starting to get healthy. And offensively we have scuffled, but we're starting to pitch pretty well. So I think it's going to be a really good second half of the season. Luckily, we're in a super easy district. Glendale is terrible, and Camdenton's not much better. So we got Glendale, Camdenton, us. Branson can really pitch, and then West Plains and Marshfield both have Division I players, which is something we don't have. So it's going to be a good district for us. We play the same days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Ours is at Branson down there. So we'll kind of see how that goes. I think we see that on May 10th. So we should be able to see how it goes.
I have questions.
Good deal.
A 5-game tournament with 3 on one day?
Yeah.
I mean, is that a rule change?
You can play 4 today if you wanted to.
I mean, you can do whatever.
You can do whatever you want. Just play 36 games, is what you get. So you can play 18 doubleheaders, play 36 separate days. They've made it way easier to get your games in and get them made up, but it does. Like in the NBA, they talk about schedule losses. Now we kind of have those in high school baseball where you go into games and it's going to be really difficult to win based on the schedule.
You guys, when you try to organize a tournament, maybe that you host,
Yeah.
Do you try to organize it to where you can get 5 games for a team?
If they want to. I mean, the whole idea of a tournament has almost went out the window. This Columbia tournament that we're in is an actual tournament. It's 12 teams and it's an actual tournament. But for the most part, you're just trying to get everybody games against people. And so that's kind of how it works.
But you got to have other fields. You can't, if you have people.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have.
Yeah, like in Columbia, they have, turf really helps. So, there's 3 all turf fields up there with Battle, Hickman, and Rockbridge. So they host this.
So you were moving around field?
Yeah, so that's how we put up a battle of Hickman this time, so. But yeah, so it's a good time.
Now, I know you get, you're loaded on every level, but this particular team, is it mostly a senior team? Or junior team? What is that?
Some of both. I mean, seniors and juniors for the most part. Yeah. We are playing some sophomores. It's hard to tell. Our JV is really good, so I think they're 14-1. We probably could play some of those guys if some guys don't start to produce here pretty quick. We started to put some other guys in this weekend, so we'll see how that goes. So,
Coach Hauser's here for the Kickapoo Chiefs update.
All right, thank you. We're 10-12 currently. I think we played our 22 games in, this is the month. Started on March 17th. Today is the 17th, so technically a month. We played 22 games. We had the bright idea when we put our schedule together. Since we had the most inexperienced team that we've had, at Kickapoo in a while, let's put the toughest schedule together that we could. So, and we wanted to do it real early so we could get real tired. And we accomplished that as well. But I mean, you only, as Scott said, you only get 36. I mean, because you're right. When we started coaching, it was much more restricted, your limitations. And I know that every generation kind of gets more. And I remember talking to people in Kansas, and they could only, and I don't know if it's still that way, they could only play 20 games, period, in spring baseball. And I was like, how do you get kids to come out for the team? I mean, 20 games. And Missouri's really opened up to where we can get 36 and 3 in one day. I found out today. I didn't realize that was legal either, that you can do that. But be that as it may, we've got 22, and we really, our philosophy was and still is, I mean, if you only get 36, why not try to play the absolute best 36 teams that you can play in a 4-state area and see what your guys can get done? So it's only going to help you at the end of the season. If it's just wins and losses, who really cares at the end of the day? And yes, conference is important and district seeds are important, but at the end of the day, it's going to be 1v1 in a one-game playoff in baseball, which is the hardest, in my opinion, team sport to have a one-game playoff. Because if their dude on the hill is that good, you can be the best team in the state. If he's on, you're going to have to find a way to scratch it. It's just baseball. And so we have gotten a ton of experience. We've played many different guys. I don't know if we've had the same lineup 2 games in a row. Our pitching staff, from sophomore to senior, has had opportunities to step in against really good competition. So now we slow down. We actually get a 3-game week this week, which we're really looking forward to. We have conference play on Tuesday versus West Plains. And then we go to Waynesville on Thursday. And then Friday, Springdale comes up for our continued around the horn with Northwest Arkansas. But with that being said, the next week we've got Willard as well as Joplin and Camdenton. And we have our prom as well, which you always got to hold your breath on that night to see if the next morning you still have the same kids on the team moving forward as well. But overall, a lot of experience from an inexperienced group. Our veterans are doing their best to try to be as patient as they can for those young guys to get kind of caught up to speed. Like our group, they play hard. They're a good group to be around for the most part. And they've handled the challenges of the early season. So looking forward to our last 4 weeks, especially this week, moving forward and going forward from there. So that's about it.
I got a question.
Okay.
So playing a lot of guys, are you getting closer to finding your 8 guys, or you kind of have an idea on that of who you're?
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's matchups dictate a lot of things. So their guy, what do they have versus what they counter with on the other end of it. But yeah, I think we're moving closer to that position. We're not like McGee. I think our JV's lost 2 games, not 1.
We played this Saturday. We'll see.
And I didn't hear any names. Is there a standout that's really?
Well, Evan Vintage is having a solid year. I mean, he's one of the best players in the area and in the state, in my opinion. And
What
he's had-
position
he's
does he
had-
play?
He's our shortstop.
Okay.
And we've hit him everywhere from 1 to 4. in the
His
lineup.
dad was a good outfielder.
We're getting good. We've got a sophomore pitcher, Colin Muldoon, that has just really stepped up and kind of dominate our staff. Lefty, and he's going to be really, really good. Not that he isn't good right now, but I think he's just now starting to top the charts, so to speak, as far as that goes. Big, left-handed, lanky left-hander with a really live arm. We've gotten other parts and pieces put together from other players. Cole McCarville's has done a nice job, as he should. Brian Wapsher's had a solid start to the season. Honestly, I think that,
These are all little brothers of players.
they are, I said Cole, McCarville, not Cole. They're legacy players is what we call them when their brothers come back or come through our program. So really, really pleased that they're with us as well. That's where we're at.
Thank you.
On Sundays now, if you had to.
You have to petition mission in order to do it. So last year, our district championship against Glendale got moved to a Sunday because they were in bad weather. I don't know that they.
That used to be a really good.
That's the only time we've ever played on a Sunday was last year.
You guys did jamborees this year on Sunday. Did you have to petition for those?
We didn't play on Sunday. So that was Arizona. Yeah, that was Arizona. You guys, you have to petition mission to do it?
Oh, you just did it?
Yeah. I don't know that we have to do regular season games. Petition, I think postseason, regular season out there.
Oh, you can play on Sundays if you
Yeah.
want.
Coach Stratton will ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
That's new.
I don't know if we can, take this word.
Well, it's new this year. I got heard that. Sunday's an open day. No.
I didn't know
For
that.
high school.
Okay. On the college side, the BBC has already played well over 40 games, and they've got some more this week.
Yeah, thanks for having us again. So we are currently 28-19, 13-7 in our conference. We went to Arlington Baptist this past weekend. We snuck into the very tail end of the top 10 of the coaches poll last week at number 10, and Arlington Baptist was number 8, and they're really big and really physical, and we went down there and got a split. And talking to Logan earlier, the coach in me is kind of greedy, and we should have won all 4, but I'm pretty happy that we got out there with a split. The power rankings for NCCA come out on Tuesday, and that's kind of like the RPI, and that's really important to postseason stuff. And I think we've played a really, really tough schedule, so I'm excited to see kind of where we land in that. But this week we play Ecclesia, which is in Springfield, Arkansas. We're going to play a neutral site conference series at Joe Becker Stadium, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, which is how our conference plays. But overall, very pleased in year 2, having a good year. Hadn't really mentioned it just because it was kind of touch and go there for a little while, but our best player in the middle of our first conference series, so quite a while ago, came up to us, and his left leg was 3 times the size of his right leg, and rushed him to the ER, had a blood clot. He was on pace, would have probably been a first-team All-American. He's a transfer catcher from Central Missouri, and took him to the hospital. They found a blood clot. It was went to Springfield. They thought they kind of got under control, let him out of the hospital, decided he was going to go home to Northwest Arkansas so his mom could kind of take care of him for a few days. Clot reoccurred. He was in the ICU for 7 days in Northwest Arkansas. Same type of thing. They just couldn't get the blood clots under control. And then last Wednesday, they rushed him by ambulance to KU Medical Center from Northwest Arkansas. Long story short, they have some vascular guru at KU Medical that has rebuilt the kid's veins in his legs. And he's getting released from the hospital today and making great improvement. But that being said, certainly, we're very fortunate that he's well, and I think at some point he'll play baseball again, but it won't be this year. last year, we probably were the worst catching team in America. And it was like these guys coach Little League baseball, to the backstop, guys on second, to the backstop, guys on third, error, guy scores, and that's like how we were last year. And so bringing in Sam drastically changed our team. Our number 2 catcher is pretty good defensively, kid from Marshfield, Logan Crom. Doesn't hit much, but he was good. Well, he goes to block a ball in game 1 at Arlington and tears his meniscus, sliding sideways. So we have a freshman catcher from Southern Boone who made the trip, and even at the NCCA level, it's hard for freshmen to compete. And he was hanging in there, but it's going to be interesting to see the rest of the way because we're not very deep behind the plate. But he hung in there. So rest of the way for us, 4 games set this week, then 4 games at Champion University in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and then our regional tournaments hosted at College of the Ozarks. So there's 5 regions in the NCCAA, 5 regional winners go, 4 at-large teams, which is strictly based on the power rankings go, and then the host team automatically goes. So coming down the stretch, but excited for the direction we're going.
Who's the host team?
The host team is Kansas Christian, and they play at the Royals Urban Youth Academy in Kansas City. It was for years, it was in Easley, South Carolina. Kansas Christian won the bid probably because they have 2 full turf fields right in the complex and indoor. But Kansas Christian is going to host. Then those 5 regional winners and 4 at-larges will go to the World Series, which is in the middle of May.
Okay, I was just going to ask the date on that. So I heard the 13th.
Yeah, and for Tom, rumor buzzing around about a new name for US Ballpark. It's not released, the press release yet, but US Baseball Park is going to be Sky Bacon Stadium for at least the next 3 years. That's a fireworks company, and that's a good partnership for us. We're really excited.
Pigs fly.
Yeah, hey, it used to be ducks, now it's pigs.
That's right.
Fun name. Well, Drury has 25 wins already, and the Panthers back in action this week. They have Central Missouri coming up.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we showed up to the park on Thursday for practice, and there's a new logo on the video board that says Sky Bacon Stadium. So I checked my phone to see if it was April 1st or not. It wasn't. So our guys tried to figure out what was going on. I think you had some people up on the concourse and covering that. So congrats on that. Probably someone else had to, so that helps you upgrade some things. So we had a good week. We had Truman 4 times, and we won all 4 of those. Truman, it was towards the bottom of the league, and they can stay there now after beating them 4 times. So we were pretty happy with the weekend. We really played well at home. We're 18-3 at home. We have 4 games this weekend against Lewis, and Lewis is tied with us in the conference standings for the most part. They're 4 behind in the win category, but same in the loss. But we have a bye coming up, and they don't have a bye yet. So it'll be a big weekend for us against Lewis. They have one of the best pitchers in the league. Opponents are hitting a $114 off him. He's given up 9 hits in 26 innings in conference, and in 40 innings on the season, he struck out 73 and walked 11. So, and they throw him in game 2. So we'll match up him with Meeks, who Meeks has been really good. Our 3, I'll run you through some stats real quick just on our pitchers, which we've always been an offensive dominated team really since we started, and we knew this year with losing 85% of our at-bats due to graduation last year, we really needed our pitchers to step up. And it's been a while since we've done that, probably since 2014 when we were pitching dominant and hitting dominant. I would say we hit 347. But in conference, Jack Jones is going game 3 for us. He is 37 innings, 24 hits, 37 strikeouts with a 1.02 WHIP and a 1.2 ERA. He's 6-0 in the league. You have Cody Ball, who's a sophomore for us, who's got a 3.4. He's got 28 innings and 29 strikeouts. He goes game 1 for us. And then Mason Meeks is throwing 3 shutouts for us this year. He's got a 1.05 WHIP, 37 innings, 33 strikeouts. He's only walked 3 guys. And so we get 3 quality starts where we don't have to really worry about anything until 7th or 8th. And Tyler Bastunas, our second baseman, comes in from second to close games right now. And so we threw 2 guys in relief in a 4-game set this weekend. Tyler threw 3 innings, Mason Majors threw 1, and Wes Laker threw 4 1/3 hitless. And so we have 25 pitchers on our roster. Randy's got a big roster. A lot of colleges will have big rosters outside of Division I, and that doesn't give many innings to some of those other guys. And so trying to figure out ways for those guys to stay engaged is sometimes tough this time of year when you know the 7 guys are going to pitch and you don't have much of a chance to go. And so we had that conversation after we swept this weekend of, accepting your role, but not settling for that role that you currently have. And some of the guys in the rotation, Cody Ball came in as a walk-on. He's now one of the best pitchers in the league. Jack Jones came in as a walk-on, throwing 82. And now he's 88 to 91 and waited his time, but continued to work and not settle. So we have a lot of guys who kind of work their way up. Going into this weekend, Truman has 3 left-handed pitchers, and we hit 230 on the year against left-handed pitching. We faced a lot of good left-handers. We have 1 left-handed bat in the lineup. So we talked all week, how do we get Callan out of the lineup, even though he's one of our best players, because it's left on left. We try to figure out how do we minimize the at-bats for our 2 catchers who aren't swinging it very well. And then how do we get Tyler Bastinas to get hits, because he's 0 for 23. And those guys in the first 2 games combined, I think had 15 hits. So those guys flipped the script. All it takes is 1 weekend to get rolling for a couple guys and trying to trust the process. And we did a little bit more bunt, hit, and run, slash, field, a little bit more what you can do when you get runners on. So when you don't get that leadoff man on, stuff to do that, and we got the leadoff man on pretty often. So we threw back-to-back shutouts on Saturday. And we tried to avoid the hail. And so we started at 11. One of the only things I really stress about is making decisions based on weather, and hopefully it goes the right direction. So we decided to play at 11. First game was 1 hour and 32 minutes. Took 25 minutes in between games, and then we played an 1 hour and 25-minute game. Didn't give up a run, didn't make a pitching change. Was home by 3:15, and then watched it rain about an hour later. So it worked perfectly on Saturday, and it doesn't normally do that. But thanks to our pitching, we got 2 in, and both about an hour and a half. So 5 o'clock we play UCM, who's top 10 right now in the country. It'd be a big test for us on the road. If you can get that win, that's huge when it comes to regional time. Winning games on the road is big. Above 500 ranked games, all plus. Lewis is above 500 at home this weekend. And then we finish up at Quincy, who's been a top 10 team all year long. We'll probably host the regional road no matter what they do from here on out, because they have the toughest strength schedule in the country. And then we have the bye week, so we can't do anything for our cause the last week of conference tournament in Marion, Illinois. So that's where we're at. Thank you guys.
Any more updates on the Meadow project?
We have another meeting that could be the deciding factor of what we get to do here very soon. So if that meeting goes well, we're in a good spot.
Sky Bacon, Meadow Park.
I'll ask them if they want to put their name on the Sky Bacon too. I'm good with that.
Maybe there's some other animals.
It's already in my script.
Coach Gutton and the Bears got a lot of runs on the board in Chicago this week, and they go to Mizzou on Tuesday.
Thank you, Don. I think we have a lot of really good high school programs in the state of Missouri. I think we have 3 of the best high school coaches in the state of Missouri right in this room, and I hope your players and their families appreciate how good they have it, because it's not always like that. So congrats for you guys, all 3 of you. So we started Tuesday. We had a great weather night, had a great crowd, had great everything except our performance. 1-0 in the 6th, and we gave up a couple, and we're down 4-0. We're not really doing much offensively. So we've got a decision kind of to make. Do we put guys out there from the weekend that maybe we shouldn't, or do we just put guys out there that haven't been out there very much? We did the latter, and therefore that's how it ended up. Missouri has a really good team this year. We go back there tomorrow night, anxious to go with maybe a few more bullets in the gun. Trey Ziegenbein, who has a fairly significant shoulder injury, is pitching again. He's a 9th-year senior. He's had 2 Tommy Johns, and he refused to get surgery, which would end his career, and he's going out there. So he threw an inning against Chicago on Saturday, which was 2 weeks after he hurt his shoulder. Not a real productive inning. His velo was good. His spin on breaking ball was good. Couldn't find the plate, but we think we have him at least in the short term going forward. He's a captain. He's a leader. And with that appearance on Saturday, set the career appearance record with, I think, 88, 89.
BY's record was 88.
Yeah, Brian Young helped with 88, another great reliever for us in the past. So on to Chicago in this game. You can't sit around and think about your last game. And so that was a lengthy trip. So we left here at 7:15 a.m., stopped in Springfield, Illinois to eat. Got to Chicago at 4:30, then got to our hotel at 5:30. So we caught a little bit of traffic. I went out and practiced. They have a beautiful stadium in which Curtis Granderson, who played there, gave him $5 million. It's turf, it's a downtown university, but the athletic facilities are really good. We used to be in the league with them, the Mid-Continent, back in the 80s. They hosted our league tournament every year from 84 to 90 because they had by far the best facility. Well, they moved the site. It was a grass field. It was really nice. Now it's a turf field about another half mile down. And the really nice thing is the university police force is in the parking lot where the stadium is. So that's really a plus down there. Somehow, some way, we got a beautiful downtown hotel room for $130 each, when it's normally about $350. So we had an alum who had a friend and on. So the good part was it only took about 10 to 12 minutes to get to UIC versus staying out somewhere where it's going to be an hour. Didn't know the area. I think it was pretty nice, but Saturday night when we got back after a doubleheader, for the first time ever, I told the players they could not leave the hotel unless they had family with them, and they called me to get permission. So we'd already eaten. Nobody was killed. I think we came out a winner. Really a nice area and a nice hotel. So as far as the games were concerned, our three starters did a good job. Brant Thompson's our #1 Friday guy, and he was so good early that now when he's not so good, you kind of think Brant wasn't really sharp. Well, he went 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, no runs. And you're still going, God, I think he's better than that. So he was good. Minton was good, kind of same thing, struck out 8, walked 2, gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. Eddington, it was his week to be good, so he was good, up to 98, and they hadn't seen much of that. They've got one hitter, UIC, that hit third that he could play for a while, and he was really, really impressive. He squared up 97, hit it out of the park. That was their 3 runs. Offensively, we had a good weekend. So much of this, and all you guys that have been around the game know is matchups in terms of what pitching you're facing and what the conditions are. We hit a lot of balls in the air intentionally, or we try to. Wind's blowing out, you look pretty good. When it's blowing in, you don't look too good. Very offensive conditions on Saturday, so we were able to score a lot of runs. In the first game, we had 19. Zach Stewart struck out 4 times in the first game. Second game, double, grand slam. It tells you a little bit about his maturity as a hitter and what he has ability-wise. But I thought the biggest hit of the game in game 2 on Saturday, we're down 3-0 because their big donkey hit a 3-run homer. Their guy's stuffing us pretty good. He's a reliever, but he's pretty good. So 3 innings, we do nothing. So we're down 3-0, we come back. I think we got a walk and a hit. Cody Kelly comes up, who was our catcher, currently our left fielder, because of his 17 hits on the season, 9 are home runs. So he had a 3-run homer. That was the biggest hit of the weekend, I thought. You could just see them out there after us getting 19 the first game, like, damn, we thought we had something going. They didn't, so we scored some runs, and the pitching was pretty good. Zach Stewart still able to hit, thank goodness. Had a shoulder rotator cuff strain, getting closer, through for the first time on Saturday. I would say probably this coming weekend we can put him back in the outfield. Cody Kelly, we'll figure out what to do with if he keeps hitting home runs. Ziegenbein, we talked about injury-wise. So we had a freshman catcher named Carter Bergman, who played a little bit, usually more well-known as a defender and an eater of powdered donuts. And his figure will tell you that. So we had our nutrition in the other day to talk to the team, and she asked the question to him, specifically after he'd asked a question. She knew, you know, when we take a long trip, we usually stop about halfway, and Naz remembers all this stuff, and guys get out and it's not good. You know, what they're picking. She said, what do you get when you stop at Wally's? It's a new place off 44 where you can believe me get anything humanly possible. And he goes, I get powdered donuts. He goes, but I washed it down with a cookie, so I was good. Freshman. So he has since stopped eating his powdered donuts, and I have reminded him of that often. He hit 2 home runs in a double in the third game Saturday, which might be his first. He had 1 hit before that.
Yeah.
One hit, first career home run. So his slugging percentage went up a little bit. So highlight for him. But overall, you know, UIC, I think it's their first year in the league. I think they're playing with a lot of guys who are probably Horizon League recruits. Their freshman left-hander was really good for about 4 innings the first day, but you know they've got a ways to go. But you know, we did what we had to do. We scored runs. Our starting pitching was good. We were still a little sloppy defensively at times when we had a big lead. No excuse. Got to clean that up to get better. And we have Belmont, another first-year team in the league, and they're a lot better than UIC. Their pitching numbers are pretty good. We're scheduled for 11 a.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday because the Cardinals are in town, so weather could complicate things. Randy and Scout have been gracious with us at Was US Ballpark, now Canadian Bacon, or whatever it is. So might have to adjust our schedule. It's just something you have to watch every day and see what happens. But that's it, kind of the report for us. We were in Chicago. The White Sox were in Chicago. The game times didn't permit us to go see the White Sox play and see Berger, who's backup play. Hit a home run Friday, another one Saturday, another one Sunday. So he was good, and his sister, who had our tennis team there, who lost to UIC, was also there and brought him out to cheer us on. So good weekend overall. Questions? Mike, you gotta have something.
So the pitching lineup stays the same as Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yes, it does. For tomorrow night, it's probably gonna be a bullpen night. Go back to Mizzou, 6 or 7 guys. Reed Metz from Rogersville, who had not pitched all year. It's a guy we really missed. Threw his first inning on Saturday. He was pain-free while he threw. He was up to 92. He had a good, pretty clean inning. Don't think we'll throw him tomorrow night, even an inning, unless we have to, or 1-2 at the very end of the game. We want to be very careful. Jesus gets a significant piece for us down the stretch. So, anybody else? That's it for the Bears. Thank you.
I've got a question for the coaches, and a parent came up to me a couple of weeks ago. And of course, I know the history of the tribe really well. But someone said, where are the kids, if they're not travel ball, where are kids getting their initial indoctrination into ball right now?
Mike, you want to talk about your group? Mike's got a group.
Yes.
Northside Blues.
Look, you're a radio guy.
I got youth baseball too, but
He's a man of
my youth baseball, I try to find kids that wouldn't be playing otherwise.
And that's kind of where this guy fell into. So I didn't know what was feeding you and how you get fed.
We all, and I think, I don't know how far they go down, but we start at 7-year-old. We're all mixed of kids now.
Okay.
We've adjusted that a little bit. In the past, it wasn't. But we might have 1 or 2 that were grandfathered working their way out. But other than that, we're all mixed of kids now.
The same way. We have 3 youth fields that a guy runs. And so all the older kids kind of play there.
But not everybody has that luxury going right now, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I didn't think that.
We play against Willard and Nixa, the ones that choose to play in the city league.
Yeah.
I'm playing against all the time.
We've got a 10U and a 9U mini Panthers team.
Okay.
Mainly my son's 10, so they're just keep wearing jersey gear.
That's gonna be done in the year.
Next year will be 11 and then 10,
Yeah, well,
12. But we played the Northside Blues here 2 weeks ago.
Well, and the reason I bring it up, because this father mentioned to me, he said, well, if you're not playing 417, if you're not in that, where are they? And I said, well, there's gotta be other things out there.
It's a problem. There's a bunch of boys that want to play.
Yeah.
They're out there, but there's not somebody willing to organize it, coach it, or pay for it. And so that's what I take care of for the Blues. But it's not like,